the morning ritual and the you know, eating good food and making sure you've got decent coffee and clinging on to those bare essentials of life is quite comforting. You can buy booze. It's cheaper to buy and drink at home. Like you can't go out and enjoy it with your friends.
Even with the retail coffee, it's in a way it's cheaper than going to a cafe for some people. So they don't see that expense as anything extra. It's just kind of keeping the ball rolling, and like Don said, keeping some kind of normality as well.
And how interesting, actually. I wonder how many people, because I think before COVID-19, we probably lived in a world that was obsessed with what was quick and what was easy and you know, what was just minimal effort. And now we've got time. Like people are getting up and going, oh, actually, I've probably got time to even do a French press or something simple.
Or make a nice coffee.
Or make it. I've got this espresso machine. I wonder how people have got like had, you know, espresso machines given to them at Christmas 3 years ago who
just now brushed it off.
Brushed it off and gone, I should probably use this thing. Like that would be interesting. And that's awesome because just spending time making it, it's not a chore. It's sort of a bit of a process. And anticipation is always almost better than the actual thing itself, right? You don't cook something for 2 hours and eat it in 10 minutes to you know, enjoy just the eating part. You're enjoying the preparation.
Definitely. I'm seeing the same thing with this sourdough trend.
Fermentation's gone off.
I was just having a conversation about sourdough today.
But saying that, I think on a larger scale, so we're like, 2 months in, and here we're slowly starting to see restrictions being peeled back or loosened off, so to speak. But it'd be interesting to hear about Origin, what's happening. Like, do you want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the green world? Specific origins and what's going on there?
I mean, I personally, I was saying to you before, I was getting a bit depressed because I am very aware of what's happening at Origin, and I'm like, it's like watching a slow motion car crash. And, you know, like let's take, for example, a couple of origins. Ethiopia. Like at the moment, the cases in Ethiopia are relatively low. I think they've only had sort of, I don't know, cases in the 200 to 300s. But the actual fact is, there's no way that they've got the testing capabilities. They're not testing properly.
No.
I was talking to Getty Bikele, who we work with over there, and he was saying that, you know, for a population of 101 million people, they've only got 660 ventilators. And there's no, like, you know, social distancing isn't a thing. They're not social distancing. Like, they're not shaking hands and they're not eating raw meat. But, you know, I mean, they're still catching up. They're still meeting in massive groups. They're, you know, despite the laws laid out by the government. And literally, it's only a matter of time before COVID-19 explodes there. And he's very scared. You know, like literally, it's got no healthcare. Like you go to Ethiopia and, you know, on a good day, you're driving down the road and there's a guy with one leg begging because there's no support network for people with disability there. You're like, so you can imagine that with COVID-19. I mean, it's gonna be bodies. Well, you know, Getty was saying he fears bodies in the streets. So I think we're only just starting to see the reality of COVID-19 in producing origins now. You know, just as like it was hitting China in January and we were 2-3 months behind, I think the same thing's happening there. So another origin that I really worry about is Brazil. Obviously, the president calls it like this cold. You know, like he's although the heads of state, the different states are sort of trying to do lockdowns because the president's not taking seriously, the people aren't taking it that seriously. And, you know, I think that we're going to have a huge issue there. Now, is that going to affect production as much as Ethiopia? Perhaps not, because Brazil is so mechanized. You know, 3 people can, you know, like basically pick a whole crop.
Saw machine.
You know, with the machine, you know, one guy driving the picker, one guy driving the hopper, and one guy doing the, like, you know, the tweaks to how the picker's, you know, going. Like, so 3 people could be, and you know, your social distancing. So whether or not that is affected as much as, say, you know, a third world country, I don't know. And then jump from Brazil to Colombia. Colombia, unlike most of Central America, which finished the crop now, so like Costa Rica, Guatemala, you know, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua, their crop was finished. It's finished now, and really it's just the shipping and milling. Colombia is just starting. And we're seeing this now. The price of Colombian coffee has gone through the roof because, you know, to get anyone to go and actually physically pick coffee is nigh on impossible. You know, the lockdown stopping people from picking coffee. And we already have a very high price anyway because of circumstances in the market. Like someone, you know, a couple of entities bought a huge amount of Colombian coffee, which pushed prices up. Now with COVID-19, you know, the lockdown, the difficulty of people, you know, traveling to go and physically pick the coffee, I don't know what's going to happen with the Colombian crop. Like, I don't actually know if we're going to get the coffee out the countries.
Yeah. That's scary, isn't it?
Which is going to have massive ramifications, and most people are using Colombia as a base. And I think...
As well as Brazil, right?
Yeah.
And those 2 particular origins produce, like, are some of the biggest producers in the world, right? Especially Brazil.
Well, Brazil.
And you've said to us in the past that Brazil have stockpiled coffee and have filled warehouses with coffee.
Yeah.
So the production's not an issue to a certain extent, but like.
But that only helps with, like, it's past crop coffee that they've got sat in warehouses. So I mean, you know, it's no good for a lot of people. It might be good for, like, your real base, New York, you know, New York 13, 14, you know, New York 4, you know, whatever. You know, it might fit that role. I think you can you? I'm not even sure. I think you can deliver last year's crop, but that's it. You cannot deliver crops prior.
Oh, okay.
As part of, like, you know, certain crops.
Yeah.
So anything that is stockpiled would have to go as a much lower grade, and they wouldn't get as much money for.
At what point do they? So you said they won't deliver anything that's previous crop or older, say.
They wouldn't get, like, your base, you know, like New York price. So that would traditionally, like, be sold as what's known as a differential. So whatever the C market is. So today's C market price is $1.10 or $1.09. I think it closed today. So then they have a differential. They would sell, like, a New York contract as like +5 or -13 or -20, whatever the market feels that value is. So they peg it at that price and sell it. But whereas perhaps you know, New York 1516 would be sold at level money. You know, they can't actually sell it, so they have to sell it in a much lower grade, and that's only going to be, like, minus differentials.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, it'll be, you know, -15, -20, minus whatever. So the value that they'll get won't be as strong. So the other thing affecting Brazil is also at the moment frosts are coming into the most. So, like, reports from our partners saying, like, you know, like, there's a weather front coming in, so that's going to push prices up. But I think I don't think we're going to see coffee at this prices, you know, which are all-time low. I don't think in the future we're going to see prices this low. I think the C price is going to start going back up again because just supply is going to be harder. Supply of good quality, even like base commercial quality, is going to be harder. There's going to be less of it, and people are going to start panicking and going to start buying positions, which will push the price up. Yeah. So I think, you know, these, like, you know, within the last 7 years, a lot of the companies that have started life in that period have just seen a constantly falling price of coffee. Like, they've been born in a world where coffee gets cheaper year on year, and I think now this is going to be the catalyst to see coffee getting more and more and more expensive. And those companies that have been bred on that are going to find life very difficult.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So they've already come back with COVID. They've already come back with debt. Now they're going to have to, face the challenges of what a new price matrix means for them. Like we've seen Colombia, at least this year, let's say base Excelsior price last year was $6. This year, the same Excelsior price, you're probably going to be looking at like $8 to $9 for Excelsior basic price.
So this price increase is going to be linear through, say, commodity through to specialty.
Absolutely.
All very linear, yeah.
Like if your base, so for example, I was having a conversation with the producer, and look, this isn't just COVID related. This is a set of market dynamics that occurred because there was a lack of supply. But last year, the peso price per cargill was around $800,000 per cargill for like the base quality. Mm-hmm. So 800,000 pesos per cargo, which is like a load carried by a donkey. This year, that same peso per cargo price is 1.3 million.
Wow.
So like it's gone up from so the base price for just regular, like if they know that they can get their regular price at 1.8 this year, why would they do the extra work for specialty? If they now want specialty, they're going to be asking way more for the specialty price and the specialty bonus, because that's generally what happens for a specialty coffee. You get a bonus for that.
Yeah.
So it's changed the face of Colombian coffee this year. Then with the COVID-19, it's going to change the price, and that's most people's blends. So I think people are going to be looking for alternatives. People are going to be looking to go to Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico. I think people are going to be looking at African countries for alternatives.
Yeah,
Tanzania's, because they've got similar profiles. Uganda's, they've got similar profiles. Burundi's. So I think people are going to start changing
the Papua New Guineas, the Timor's, places like more isolated.
Yeah,
places.
I think, unfortunately, like I was asked recently, like what we're going to do, like, is Papua New Guinea an alternative? And the fact of the matter is yes, Papua New Guinea has great coffees, but they're not stable. Unfortunately, they don't hold like a Colombian does.
Yeah.
They only come once in the season. Colombian comes twice in your year. It does 2 crops. No other country is as versatile as Colombia.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a huge challenge for the industry. So many people have Colombia as a base blend.
It's huge.
It's going to be a huge shift.
Even in specialty, I mean, Colombia, Brazil is kind of a staple of specialty milk blends in the industry in Australia, and I think in Europe as well, in America. Like I think that's just a go-to almost. That's really interesting. So I think like we've got a minute left, less than a minute. Interesting to see what happens, and I think like it's still early days. I think for both the industry in the green department and also in roasted and consumer department. I think it's
interesting to see how it changes.
See how it changes. Maybe it's something we'll revisit in another 6 months or something like that. It'd be an interesting subject to talk about then. And if there's any other ideas, any thoughts, any subjects you'd like us to talk about, leave a comment. There goes the timer. Leave a comment. If there's anything you want to add to it, if you've been affected, or if there's something that you want to talk about, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.